My name is HORO, and today I'm going to be walking through how I made the vocal chain for HORO's cover of Brainstorm.
I tried writing a happy song, but the truth is, I can't be strong. Everyone seems overjoyed, yet they all feel so sad. All the lies keep replaying in my head.
All right, so let's get into it, shall we? First, what I want to do is I want to play you the vocal without any processing and then with processing so you can hear how big of a difference it actually makes. So let's take a listen with it off and on.
Writing a happy song, but the truth is, I can't be strong. Everyone seems overjoyed, yet it all feels so sad. All the lies keep replaying in my head.
So you can already see that there's just already so much going on. Let's take a look at the vocal rack and see what each plugin is doing and why. So I'm going to take all of these off and just show you. First, we have a utility on here. Without this, the vocal is super quiet. You can take a listen and you can barely hear it over the audio.
Writing a happy song.
So this first utility, all it's doing is bringing up the volume of the raw vocal itself. Next, we have auto-tune. Auto-tune is something that you should hear, whereas pitch correction, you shouldn't be able to hear. In this case, the song had a little bit of auto-tune on it, so I wanted to give that kind of feel while also maintaining Aru's voice. You can hear the areas where it starts to change notes really fast.
Writing a happy song.
With auto-tune.
But the truth is, I can't be strong. Everyone seems overjoyed, yet it...
So the places where it's most obvious are where he's changing notes, right? It's a lot quicker and a lot snappier than it would be on its own. Next, we have RVox. RVox is a compressor, which means that we're going to take all of the high volume stuff and match it with the low volume stuff, kind of squishing it down to be the same volume. You can hear where it's most necessary in the areas where he's accenting the last parts of the phrase.
Writing a happy song, but the truth is, I can't be strong.
You can really hear it right here, can't be strong. Like you can hear the vocal go up.
I can't be strong.
It goes up in volume. So we want to kind of bring it down so it matches everything else. So let's hear it without.
I can't be strong.
And with it on.
I can't be strong.
So the compressor made it equal volume. Next, we have our subtractive EQ. I won't go into too much of what this is because it's all really dependent on the track, but main things to look out for. We have a high pass that takes out all the low end mud information. We don't need it. We have a volume dip right here. This is a lot of like bassy information that is a little muddy or it's very congestive to the sound. So I want to take that out a little bit, as well as this area right here. There's a lot of frequencies in Aru's voice in particular that I want to just bump out of the way whenever he is in that range. Then there's some other cuts in here that are usually automated if he's having a long note that has one part of it that sticks out a little too much. And this thing way out over here, there was a really high frequency that I was hearing in his recording sometimes when he goes up a little higher in pitch that I wanted to cut out and bring out of the way because it was really annoying. So next we have our de-esser. I don't have a dedicated de-esser, but I'm using Nectar's built-in one. Where you can most hear that is in the second part of the phrase.
I can't stand it and stand no more.
So you hear all those I can't stand it and stand no more. Those are really hard to listen to. So the de-esser is going to basically is another compressor, and it's going to take all of those high frequencies and pull them down so they're not as bright.
Can't stand it and stand no more.
Basically, we're taking all that air, that sibilance, and we're bringing it down. Next up on the chain is our additive EQ. In here, I added a little bit more air in this upper region, and then there was just, it seemed like it wanted a little bit more boost in the high end when he was going up and up in his pitch. So I added a little boost here to help that out. We have another compressor. And this is just another compressor to bring everything down. I use Neutron's compressor in this case. I don't know if I love it, but I used it in this example. So you know how we bumped all of those frequencies up? Now we want to bring them back down to level so we're not having any areas that stick out. Next is our saturator, which again, I'm using Neutron's saturator. The human ear does not like perfect vocals. When we hear it in the mix, we want a little bit of dirt to it. So that's what a saturator does. It adds just a little bit of fuzz, a little bit of dirt to the vocal.
All the lies keep replaying in my head.
So it's very subtle, but you can hear a little bit of dirt to it. And lastly, we have our LA2A style compressor, which this is a free plugin that you can get called Lala. It's a pay what you want, but you can download it for free. I'm not super knowledgeable on this, but I want to do more research into it to figure out why I put it as the last thing on my chain. But I know roughly that it's used to help tame the peaks of every note. So it's a final compressor to just bring it down just a touch bit more. And there's one more thing that we have to touch on. It sounds really nice, it sounds really clean, but the original song by Saw, there's a little bit more compression to it that's a little bit more stylized, and I couldn't figure out what it was until I was like, oh, it was probably OTT. So if you put OTT on the track as the last thing, what I did was I dropped it down to about 50%, otherwise it sounds terrible. I took out all of the low compression, and then I brought down the compression on the high end just a little bit. And now, when we put it all together,
I tried writing a happy song.
it sits into the instrumental just a little bit more. So this is what I did for Ari's vocals. If you have any questions about the chain, if you have any questions about how to make your own vocals sound like this, feel free to shoot me a message or leave a comment, and I'll try to help out wherever I can. But until version 1.1, I guess, I'll talk to you later. Bye.